Welcome to Roadies Roam the World, Alaska, for the 8th episode of our journey. We have one more full day in Seward, Alaska, before heading back to Anchorage. Join us for kayaking on Resurrection Bay, a little fishing, and a lot of sightseeing. This morning, we're kayaking on Resurrection Bay, and it's the sunniest, most gorgeous day we've had in Alaska this whole trip. We feel so blessed to be out on the water this morning. Resurrection Bay is also known as Blind Sound and Harding Gateway in its outer reaches. The bay is a fjord on the Kenai Peninsula in Alaska. Seward is the main settlement of the bay, located at the head. The bay received its name from Alexander Baranov, who was forced to retreat into the bay during a bad storm in the Gulf of Alaska. When the storm settled, it was Easter Sunday, so the bay and nearby Resurrection River were named in honor of it. Harding Gateway refers to the passage between Rugged and Cheval Islands. The coves and inlets of Resurrection Bay were home to generations of the Alutiiq-speaking people known as Unforgettable. In the late 18th century, many native people were coerced into hunting valuable sea otters for the Russian-American Company. Soon, cultures blended, the native population declined, and by the late 19th century, most native villages were abandoned. Since then, Resurrection Bay has been used by gold seekers on their way to Turnagain, Nome, and Iditarod. Hundreds of railroad workers boosted Seward's population by 1917. Then, Resurrection Bay experienced a flurry of activity during World War II when the U.S. military constructed fortifications at Caines Head and other points in the bay. Today, you can see glimpses of history from land and water in Resurrection Bay area state parks. Fort McGillivray in Caines Head State Recreation Area, located 650 feet atop a cliff, is the most accessible of Resurrection Bay's World War II-era fixed defense installations. A short hike from North Beach will take you to these sites. The United States Army established a series of defensive positions along the coast of the bay to defend Seward and Alaska against a possible Japanese invasion. The bay was a strategically important location as it remains ice-free throughout the year, and Seward serves as the southern terminus of the Alaska Railroad, an important route for transporting civilian and military supplies throughout the territory. The earliest construction at Caines Head and South Beach along the bay were started on July 31st, 1941. Construction was hindered by the difficult terrain and winter season. By the end of 1943, the battery at Lowell Point, just south of Seward, was completed and manned by troops. Located near the fort at South Beach were utility buildings and barracks to house the 500 soldiers that supported the area's defenses. In March 1943, the installations atop Caines Head were named McGillivray after an Army officer who commanded Fort Kenai to the north in 1869. After American and Canadian forces reclaimed Attu and Kiska Islands in the Aleutian Islands campaign between May and August 1943, the Alaskan Department ordered the installations dismantled in March of 1944. Many of the constructions were not yet fully completed. The guns were disassembled and shipped to locations in South Dakota and San Diego, and the buildings were abandoned. In 1971, the Alaska Division of Parks was established to control recreational land. The Caines Head State Recreation Area was established with 1,800 acres. In 1974, it was expanded by an additional 4,000 acres. The first work in clearing the abandoned military roads began in 1984. When workers reached the fort's site at the top of Caines Head, they discovered the concrete buildings well intact, with functioning windows and doors. Military and engineering experts considered it one of the most well-preserved sites in Alaska. The site was listed on the National Register of Historic Places in 2022. After kayaking, we explore the town of Seward and do a little fishing for silver salmon. It's the end of the salmon spawning season, and you can still snag a silver in these waters as they make their way to one of the inlet rivers of Resurrection Bay. Two sad notes about this day. I did not see an orca whale while kayaking, and I did not snag a salmon. But I had fun trying, and that's all that really matters. That evening, Kit gets a special treat while doing some night photography. A show of the northern lights delights him. However, he can't see this spectacle with the naked eye on this evening. He could only capture with his camera, and capture he did. The northern lights, or Aurora Borealis, are beautiful dancing waves of light that captivate. But for all its beauty, this light show is a rather violent event. Energized particles from the sun slam into the Earth's upper atmosphere at speeds of up to 45 million miles per hour. But our planet's magnetic field protects us from the onslaught. As Earth's magnetic field redirects the particles towards the poles, yes, there are also southern lights. Onlookers are truly amazed. Next week, join us for our 9th and final episode of our Alaska trip. See you then.